Are Ethereum bears about to be wrecked? We're going to be taking a look into a few major charts here that could tell me when this altcoin season is about to get crazy. Okay. First of all, first but not least, and first and most importantly, actually, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin charts because that is the driver of this crypto market. If Bitcoin pumps, very good for the altcoins. However, if Bitcoin dumps, very bad for the altcoins. We're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin setups later in this video, including Ethereum, which I am long on. We're also going to be taking a look into Scale Network, SKL, and Degen. See what's happened in these coins later in this video. I highly don't recommend that you guys skip through because I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin. That could really wreck you. We're also going to be taking a look into some major economics and crypto news as well, and I'll give you guys my first reaction. Let's take a look into some major news first. All right, this is by Money Control. Trump family adds $1.3 billion of crypto wealth in span of weeks. Let's just take a look, a little bit more detailed look into what this is really saying. It took just a few eventful weeks for President Donald Trump's family to rack up about $1.3 billion from two crypto ventures, each less than a year old. So what did he really do? Let's see here. Let's see here. The president's two eldest sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, still share the role of executive vice president at the Trump Organization, but are increasingly the faces of the family's growing crypto portfolio. So, I mean, the Trump family is pro-crypto. I mean, that's not secret. And I think this is bullish for crypto. I mean, without getting into too much detail, if you guys want to take a read, this article is in TradingView. If you guys don't have TradingView, I do have an affiliate link in the description section below. If you sign up using my link, that will support my channel, and I will earn a commission. Now let's go to the next piece here. It's by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin taps 111.3K as forecast says 10% dip is the worst case scenario. I think that's bullish. If a 10% dip is the worst case scenario. Let's take a look into some of the key points here. I'm going to see if I agree or disagree with this. Key points. Bitcoin sees a modest rebound into the weekly candle close, but traders see key resistance overhead. We're at a key resistance overhead right now, which is the daily 21 SMA, and I've been talking about that on this channel. So let's see if we can actually get above the daily 21 SMA. That's at about 112, 113K. Next is going to be about that 115K level, which is about where the daily 50 SMA and the 3-day 21 SMA are about where it's at. So that's going to be the next resistance. Bitcoin price action risks a much deeper drop if bulls fail to reclaim that resistance zone. Now, I do think the resistance zone, the main resistance zone, I mean, yeah, we're going to have a couple of resistance zones. The next one is going to be 115K. And then the next one after that is going to be above 120, of course. And I've been pointing out that there is a bearish pattern that I think we should all be paying attention to, which is a rising wedge pattern, okay, on the weekly time frame, very noticeably. If that thing drops, that is going to be that's going to be a pretty steep drop for Bitcoin. So something to be paying attention to. However, even though we do have some mixed signals on the weekly time frame, some on daily time frame as well. On the monthly time frame, I am still bullish on that because of a few reasons I'll tell you later. I am long on Bitcoin, I am long on Ethereum, and quite a bit of the altcoins here. So my opinion on this market is still bullish. But of course, these are just my opinions and not financial advice. Let's take a look into the next key point here. Fibonacci analysis hints that such a drop may not pass more than 10%. That is interesting. So this is actually pretty bullish because what this analyst is saying is the worst drop is going to be 10%, which is bullish because I do see a breakdown target for that rising wedge to be pretty steep, to be under 80K. But there is quite a bit of support underneath between the breakdown point and that breakdown target. So yeah, I mean, I would say this is pretty bullish news that a 10% dip is the worst case scenario, but based on this news piece here, but I do see a more steeper breakdown target. Of course, there's quite a bit of support for Bitcoin to bounce off of, though. All right, next piece here is by Crypto Potato. OKB explodes above $200 with 13% surge. Okay, that's bullish. I do see quite a bit of altcoins popping this weekend. Bitcoin price defends 110K level. Weekend watch. Yes, I have been watching this price action. Uh, Basically, multiple times per hour. Right. I thought there was gonna be a scenario where Bitcoin dips below 110K this weekend. Mainly yesterday, but that did not happen, which is good. All right, this is by Crypto Telegraph, a Coin Telegraph. Crypto sentiment moves into fear as interest wanes on obscure altcoins. I don't really subscribe to the sentiment, right, or the fear and greed index. I don't really trade based on that because when things become when things get into fear in by the index, okay, that means it's usually after a drop. However, if that drop is a higher low, that is usually where I would take an opportunity to open longs. So during some times I will probably open longs when the fear and greed index is in fear. So that's why I don't really subscribe to the sentiment or fear and greed index. I trade based on the charts here. Next piece here is by You Today. $6 billion, Ripple's XRP transfer and ETF hype. Bitcoin faces 100K crash debate. Shiba Inu prepares for September rally. Top weekly crypto news. I don't have Shiba Inu, but I do think that the altcoins, based on the total 3 chart and Ethereum chart, there is a chance for a significant move here, and I'll tell you guys why. Let's go to the charts. All right, this is the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, and this is why I'm still bullish on the longer term time frame, like the monthly, because first of all, August monthly candle close has not completely retraced that July pump. Okay, so that is still bullish. And of course, the Fed this month FOMC meeting, that's July 17th. Very important. Are we going to be cutting by 50 basis points, 25 basis points? Let's take a look in the CME watch tool, which has been pretty accurate. Okay, we're still at 100% percent chance of an ease here because of that terrible jobs report that came out Friday, right? So that's basically we're heavily favored. I mean, I think we have like one more or two more major reports coming out next week. I think the CPI report, but but the labor market is looking terrible. So I'm not sure if the CPI report is gonna if it comes out terrible. I don't know, man. I don't think that's gonna put too much weight on this probability, but we'll see. Okay, but right now it's looking like it's 100% of a rate cut for the next Fed meeting. So that's bullish for the markets. And of course that's something to be bullish about, right? That's another thing to be bullish about. Now those are 2 points. What's the third point? The third point is the RSI reading. We have still not anywhere. We still have not been anywhere near the 2021 RSI readings and 2017 RSI readings. I can't talk today. But we have not even gone up to above 80 yet for this bull cycle. So in my opinion, I still don't think we're at the peak of this bull cycle yet, based on the RSI reading on the monthly time frame, because it hasn't gone crazy yet. So, and when it hasn't gotten crazy yet, then I really don't think a dump is going to be coming, like we have seen back in 2021, 2017. So that is another point, right? Does it have to play out exactly that way? No, but is there anything that's telling me otherwise right now? I also don't think so. Let's take a look into the weekly time frame, where there is a rising wedge pattern, which is bearish. If it breaks out by this point, let's just say, for example, price target would be about almost 75,000, but there's quite a bit of support beneath the price action and the breakdown point. So, including the weekly 50 SMA, which is a huge moving average, okay, that has been some short term bottoms on this moving average, including this one right here. This one really scared me back then. August 5th last year, where Bitcoin went all the way down to about 49,000, right? That was a very scary drop, right? If you guys have been here, that went from that week for Bitcoin went from about 63,000 to about 49,000. That's almost a 20% drop in a week. Wow, that was, I mean, but that was also supported by the weekly 50 SMA, which is right underneath the price action right now. So let's take a look into a daily time frame, right? So something to be watching out for. Daily time frame, a possible cup and handle pattern, with the resistance to be about 113.5k. Possible cup and handle pattern. It has not been fully formed yet. What I'm also looking at here is the daily time frame here, the falling wedge pattern, which is it has broken out back in September 2nd. Price target is going to be about 121.5. Of course, that price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. Okay, and let's see here. What I'm really looking at is a breakout of this bearish pattern, because even though rising wedges has a higher chance of breaking down, if the bulls actually pull this off and break to the upside, that would be very bullish, and that would restart this altcoin season. Okay, so that's basically what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Let's take a look into if let's take a look into stock market, because that's very highly correlated with Bitcoin. Okay, and I talked about a bear trap here that happened back on September 2nd, where the bears actually try to break down from this rising wedge pattern as well. Because I mean, you can see a very similar chart here, right, with Bitcoin. The bears try to break down, but the bulls just bought it right back up. Could this be a signal that the bulls are actually going to break out of this rising wedge pattern for stock market, S&P 500? If that is the case, could Bitcoin be following? Right? I mean, I think if stock market breaks out of this, that's going to be a very good signal for Bitcoin as well. So let's see if Bitcoin can follow if that happens. Let's take a look into Ethereum. Okay, I am long on Ethereum. I have entered into a leverage position on Ethereum, and could Ethereum bears be wrecked here? Because this is going to be a very interesting chart, because Ethereum is going to be following Bitcoin's lead, and Ethereum is trying to break out of its all-time highs at about almost 5,000. Okay, and what I'm looking at here for Ethereum is an interesting chart, because Ethereum actually broke down from this rising wedge pattern, right? A breakdown target for Ethereum here would be about, let me take a measure move here. This is the breakdown point. Breakdown target would be about 3,600. That's pretty steep. Now, let's take a look into a shorter time frame and see if I can get a sense of what's going on. There is some, I mean, maybe not on the 12-hour time frame, but let's just take a look into a shorter time frame here. 1 hour time frame. Okay, there is quite a bit of divergence that could be playing out. Okay, bullish divergence on the smaller time frame. Okay, that could be playing out right now. That's basically where you have lower lows, lower or equal lows, but lower or equal, lower or higher lows on the RSI. That's classic bullish divergence, and we have a falling wedge pattern here as well with a slight bear trap. Okay, so let's see if Ethereum can actually break back into the pattern. If that does, that's a bear trap, and let's see if that could carry Ethereum to invalidate this bearish breakdown and continue further. Okay, I am looking to take a short-term profit on my Ethereum position because because it is leveraged and I don't want to carry my leverage positions for that long, right? Let's take a look into Scale Network. See what's happening in Scale Network. Okay, SKL. Let's take a look into the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, falling wedge pattern. You should definitely pay attention to falling wedges because they're the most common pattern. Okay, if you start charting your charts, the most common pattern, probably the most simple and effective pattern that gives you a lower risk setup. Okay, because it tells you after an extensive downtrend on that time frame that the price action is more likely to be breaking back out to the upside. And in this case, it did. It is trying to hold this breakout, right? Scale Network broke out and is basically gliding along that upward trend line here, trying to stay alive from this breakout. Price target, which is for this breakout here, is going to be about 14 cents. Let's see if it gets there because it's an estimate only. Daily time frame, talked about a falling wedge pattern. Last time it broke out of it. Price target for this smaller falling wedge pattern is going to be about 5 cents. About 5 cents. Trying to get on top of the daily 21 SMA, that is going to be your resistance at about 3 cents. Let's take a look into Degen, see what's happening with Degen. Weekly time frame, broke out of this falling wedge pattern. That's probably more validated on a smaller time frame. Broke out of here back in about I'm gonna say about the week of June 30th. Price target would be about 0.55 cents. Degen. Let's take a look into daily time frame. Daily time frame, I have adjusted this chart here because I mentioned that there was a falling wedge pattern, but that looked like it was invalidated. So I recharted this pattern. It is a longer falling wedge pattern with the price target of about 0.425 cents price target. Now, even though falling wedge patterns tend to break to the upside, also have to consider the downside as well. And also, just because if you see a breakout does not mean that it's going to 100% go to that price target, right? I've seen breakouts that fall way short of the price target before it continues dumping. So these are just some scenarios to be taken into consideration of, because nothing in this market is 100%. Now, this basically wraps up for this video. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of Degen, Scale Network, Ethereum, or any other altcoins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis.